See about the pathology of peptic ulcer disease known as PUD. Peptic ulcer disease is a chronic mucosal ulceration or defect which penetrates the muscularis mucosa. Peptic ulcer disease is a chronic mucosal ulceration or defect which penetrates the muscularis mucosa. Peptic ulcer disease, there are two types of ulcers: duodenal ulcer and gastric ulcer. As the name suggests, duodenal ulcer occurs in duodenum, especially in the first part of duodenum. The gastric ulcer is present in the stomach, most commonly in the lesser curvature of stomach. Comparatively, duodenal ulcer is more common than gastric ulcer, and the duodenal ulcer is seen in age group of patients 25 to 50 years, whereas gastric ulcer is seen in patients more than 50 years. Duodenal ulcer is strongly associated with Helicobacter pylori infestation, whereas H. pylori infection is less common in gastric ulcer. And there is prompt relief of pain on antacids in duodenal ulcer, but the pain relief is not consistent in gastric ulcer. Important difference between the duodenal and gastric ulcer is consumption of food relieves pain in duodenal ulcer, whereas the food aggravates pain in gastric ulcer. And there is history of night pain and heartburn present in duodenal ulcer, which are not common in gastric ulcer. In duodenal ulcer, melena is more common, whereas in gastric ulcer, hematemesis is more common. Hematemesis is blood vomiting, whereas melena is passage of black tarry stools. There is no malignant change in duodenal ulcer, whereas the gastric ulcer can rarely undergo malignant change. These are the major differences between the duodenal ulcer and gastric ulcer. Peptic ulcer disease is one of the complications of chronic gastritis. It is most commonly associated with Helicobacter pylori infection, and other causes include NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and cigarette smoking. Now let's see the pathogenesis of peptic ulcer disease. These are the normal process occurring in the stomach, and this is in case of peptic ulcer disease. Normally, the damaging forces and the defensive forces of the stomach are balanced. That is, the damaging forces are less and the defensive forces are more. So there is not formation of any ulcer. Whereas in peptic ulcer disease, the damaging forces increases and there is impaired defensive forces, which leads to development of peptic ulcer. So in normal stomach, the damaging forces are gastric acidity and the peptic enzymes. Coming to the defensive forces, which are divided into three groups: pre-epithelial, epithelial and subepithelial. The pre-epithelial defensive forces include surface mucus secretion and bicarbonate secretion. The epithelial defensive forces are regenerative capacity of the epithelium, prostaglandin synthesis, which protects the epithelium, and restitution of damaged gastric epithelial cells. Restitution is nothing but restoration of damaged gastric epithelial cells. Next, the subepithelial defensive forces, which are mucosal blood flow and presence of leukocytes. These are the normal process taking place in the stomach. In case of peptic ulcer disease, the damaging forces increases, which cause direct mucosal injury like H. pylori infection, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, cigarette smoking, alcohol consumption and hyperacidity. And the impaired defensive forces include ischemia, reduced blood supply, due to which there is shock, decreased gastric emptying, and host factors like decreased mucin synthesis in the elderly. These are all the pathogenesis of peptic ulcer disease. Next are the risk factors for peptic ulcer disease. The most common risk factor is H. pylori infection, Helicobacter pylori infection. The other risk factors include cigarette smoking, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, alcoholic cirrhosis, psychological stress, and viral infections like cytomegalovirus, herpes simplex virus, and a syndrome called as Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. This Zollinger-Ellison syndrome consists of a triad of hypergastrinemia, increased gastrin secretion, due to which there is increased gastric acid secretion leading to multiple recurrent peptic ulcers. This is the triad of Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. ZES, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. Next, coming to the morphology, grossly, most common site of peptic ulcer is the duodenum, especially in the first part of duodenum. In stomach, lesser curvature is involved near the junction of body and the antrum of stomach. The other site is gastroesophageal junction of esophagus. The number of ulcers, usually solitary in about 80% of the cases. Size of the ulcer ranges from varying sizes. If it is less than 0.3 centimeter, the ulcer is shallow. If it is more than 0.6 centimeter, it is deeper. Shape of the ulcer is round to oval in shape, having sharply punched out defect. So it appears as a sharply punched out ulcer. Margin is in level with the surroundings, and there are radiating folds of mucosa from the ulcer which appear like a spoke wheel. So this is the spoke wheel appearance of a peptic ulcer. This is the sharply punched out defect, and these are the radiating folds of mucosa from the ulcer which appear like a spoke wheel. Depth of the ulcer varies, and the base of the ulcer is smooth and clean. Coming to the microscopy of peptic ulcer, from the lumen outwards, 4 layers can be identified. These are called as Ashkenazi zones. Ashkenazi zones, the 4 layers. So the superficial layer is the necrotic zone, under which is superficial exudative zone, which consists of exudates with predominantly neutrophilic infiltration. Next is granulation tissue zone, which consists of granulation tissue infiltrated with mononuclear leukocytes. And the last layer is zone of cicatrization, which consists of fibrous tissue or collagenous scar, which forms the ulcer base, and it may show chronic inflammatory cells. So the 4 layers of Ashkenazi zones are necrotic zone, superficial exudative zone containing exudates with neutrophilic infiltration, granulation tissue zone having granulation tissue with infiltration of mononuclear leukocytes, and zone of cicatrization having fibrous tissue or collagenous scar which forms the ulcer base, and it may show chronic inflammatory cells. These are the 4 layers from the lumen outwards forming the Ashkenazi zones. Clinical features of peptic ulcer disease. Peptic ulcers are chronic recurring lesions with more morbidity than mortality. These are more common in young adults, and there is periodicity. After few weeks or months of active disease, healing occurs with or without treatment, and then it reoccurs after few weeks or months. Pain in case of peptic ulcer, there is mostly epigastric pain, which is burning or aching pain, exacerbated by fasting, improved on consumption of food or alkali, and the pain usually is 1 to 3 hours after meal during the day, and it is worse during the night between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. Other symptoms of peptic ulcers can be associated with nausea, vomiting, bloating, belching, and significant weight loss, which is more common with gastric ulcer. Finally, the complications of peptic ulcer disease. The most common complication is bleeding. The chronic blood loss can lead to iron deficiency anemia. There is coffee ground vomitus or melena because of bleeding. Next complication is perforation, which is seen in about 5% of the patients. It is the more common complication of gastric ulcer. Next complication is pyloric obstruction, which is associated with ulcers in pyloric region, seen in about 10% of the patients. This pyloric obstruction occurs secondary to edema or scarring. Rarely there can be malignant transformation, which is more common with gastric ulcer than duodenal ulcer, and there can be development of combined ulcers in stomach and duodenum of the same patient. So the same patient can develop both gastric and duodenal ulcer. This is all about peptic ulcer disease. Thank you.